Assalamualikum and hi. How are you? I hope all you are in a good condition. Remember to always take care of yourself. So wear a mask and always sanitize your hand. So today my group would like to present our final year project on the title of Phosphorus Withdrawal from Aqueous Solutions by using recycled eco-friendly waste chicken eggshells, as known as PwCE. That is the short form for our projects. So this is a final year project diploma and the code is DAC21303 of semester 2 2020-2021. So before we go to our project, let me introduce myself first. My name is Muhammad Haziq bin Hassan, AA192076, Muhammad Alif bin Muhammad Razani, AA192091, and Hassanal bin Hassan, AA191493. So this project is under Dr. Noorul Hudai Binti Abdullah as our supervisors. So let's go to the introductions. So we start off with the introductions of this project. So water is the most important resource for living things to survive on our earth. A lot of water from homes and industries must be treated before it is released back to the receiving bodies. Improper treated wastewater problems have become one of the global issues, and this wastewater might come from household and have a chance to enter drainage system, which is streams, rivers, and lakes. Untreated water might containing higher amount of nutrients, which is phosphorus, from the consumer will affect the water quality. Too much phosphorus can cause increased growth of algae, which can result in decreased levels of dissolved oxygens, a process called eutrophication. However, waste chicken eggshells as an alternative to remove the phosphate from wastewater. So we're moving on with the problem statements of the projects. So, have you been wondering why do we do this study? Okay, let me explain the problem statement for this project first. The excessive phosphate in effluent might stimulate the algae bloom, where it can cause eutrophication, which is they block sunlight to pass through the surface of the water. Next, usually chicken eggshells commonly dumped at the landfill from domestic and industrial sector. As I said in the introduction part, waste chicken eggshell can be used to remove phosphate from wastewater. So they study to reuse the chicken eggshells as an absorbent to absorb the phosphate pollutants from wastewater. So basically, the chicken eggshells contain calcium carbonate, which is CaCO3 for positive charge, and phosphate PO4 negative 3 for the negative charge. So I will pass to Alif to explain more of the objective of our project.
Alright, thank you Mr. Haziq. Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Alif Daniel and now I'm gonna present the objective for this study. Okay, there are about 3 objectives that we have come for. First, to investigate the absorption phenomenon of phosphate aqua solution onto porous material. The second objective is to evaluate the effectiveness of calcined chicken eggshell by removing the phosphate element from aqueous solution. And the last objective is to determine the best fitting of adsorption kinetic and isotherm model for adsorption of phosphate onto eggshell on the data experiment. Now I will continue with the material and method. To summarize it, there are about 5 key steps to make sure that this study succeeds. The first step is to do the literature review about absorbance of eggshell and absorption. As we know, before we do some experiment or study, we need to know how to handle the experiment and what material that we will use. The second method is the preparation of adsorbent. In this study, it is required us to collect eggshell in a large capacity to make sure that this study will succeed. The third one is the preparation of aqueous solution. The aqueous solution that we will prepare will be using in the testing method, and the phosphorus will be removed from it. The fourth one is the bench test experiment. In this test, we will run the experiment to collect the data, and after that, the last step is to do some parameter analysis. In this step, we will collect the data and do some analyze to find out whether this study succeed or not.
Preparation of absorbent in this study have 5 steps to follow. First, collect the chicken eggshell that have been unused as the main ingredients of the study. Next, clean the chicken eggshell using tap water to make sure there is no other matter in the eggshell. Thirdly, dry it under the sunlight for 2 days. Then, dry the chicken eggshell by using an oven at 30 degrees Celsius for 2 days. Lastly, sieve the chicken eggshell in 5 different sizes. Next, in this material and method also, I will explain about batch test experiment. The procedure for batch test experiment start with measuring the mass of absorbent as much 2 grams. After that, prepare the aqueous solution of gas to PO4. Then, put the sample in orbital shaker for about a while. Next, analyze the sample using HDR 6000. Finally, use kinetics and isotherm table to identify the sample.
So, we met again. I will present about the material and method for our group projects. For the kinetic model, as you can see, there are 2 types, which is the pseudo first order PFO and the pseudo second order PSO. There's a difference there, careful. Both have different linear form, as you can see there. Next, also we can see the plot, which is the pseudo first order PSO in QE minus QT versus T1. And for the pseudo second order, the plot is T1 over QT versus T1. In this table also have the parameter of each models. Next, for the isotherm model, there are 2 types, which is the Freundlich and Langmuir. Based on the table in this slide, we can see the linear form of Freundlich and Langmuir models. Next, we also can see the plots, which is the for Freundlich is ln Q versus ln CE, which in the plot of the Langmuir is 1 over QE versus 1 over CE. In this table, we also can see the parameter of each models. So, for the next part, it is for this research, we use several analytic methods, which is using Fourier transform infrared FTIR, X-ray diffractions XRD, energy dispersive X-ray fluorescence EDXF, and scanning electron microscope SEM. All of these are advanced technologies. All of them has their own characteristics and function in the experiments. For the FTIR, which is functional group that can identify chemical bonds in a molecule by producing an absorption spectrum. Next, XRD is able to identify the crystalline phases present in the material and thereby reveal the chemical compositions informations. An instrument that identifies chemical composition, which is the EDXF. Lastly, scanning electron microscope (ESEM), which is provides high resolutions for surface morphology for various material. So I will pass to Alif Daniel for result and analysis.
Now, I'm going to continue with the presentation of the result and analysis for this study. To obtain the physical and chemical result, we have been using 4 analysis methods to identify the connection between calcined waste chicken eggshell and the phosphate removal. The first analysis that we used was SEM analysis, which is SEM stands for Scanning Electron Microscopy. SEM is a test process that scans a sample with an electron beam to produce a magnified image for analysis. If you can see at the image in the slide, you can see that the surface characteristic of calcined waste eggshells was somewhat raw. And if you can see, at 10,000 times magnification, The SEM picture shows tiny holes on the surface of the calcined waste eggshell in figure C. Next, we also use the EXDRF analysis, which is it is stand for Energy Dispersive X-ray Fluorescence, and this test was one of two general types of X-ray fluorescence technique that used for elemental analysis application. Okay, if you can see at the result, it can be seen that calcium indicates the highest number in the sample with the 53.92%. This has further strengthened the hypothesis that eggshells are capable of removing phosphate from wastewater, as the calcium was known as a good removal agent of phosphate. The third analysis method that we have been used in this study is FTIR analysis. FTIR stands for Fourier Transform Infrared Spectroscopy. This test can identify organic materials. This test also can measure the absorption of infrared radiation by the sample material versus wavelength. The infrared absorption bands identify molecular components and structure. If you can see at the result, the chemical bond in chicken eggshell after adsorption are lesser than the before adsorption of phosphate due to adsorption process. Finally, the last method that we have been used to analyze the result in this study is X-ray diffraction analysis, or we can say as XRD. XRD is a technique that used in material science to determine the crystallographic structure and identification of a material. If you can see at the result on this study, it shows that calcium oxide is higher than compared to other chemical content. This high calcium oxide content may increase the phosphate absorption and may make sure that this study will succeed.
So, I will continue to present about the result and analysis of this study. I will explain about this figure. The figure show the relationship between calcium removal efficiency and absorption capacity toward particle size. Then, the highest removal is 97.99% for removing phosphate from an aqueous solution. Last, this figure also show the best particle size is 1.10 mm until 2.36 mm. Next, in result and analysis, it also has pseudo first order and pseudo second order. First, the pseudo first order model is shown in the table, while the absorption kinetics obey a pseudo first order model. The plot of ln QE minus QT versus TI yield a straight line. Second, the other model is pseudo second order. The R2 value for all size are 0.9994, 0.998, 0.9999, 0.9988, and 0.9999. PFO model fit with the data due to R2 near to 1. Besides that, it is also having the result and analysis of isotherm model, which is Freundlich model and Lambe model. The Freundlich isotherm model has the largest absorption capacity, which is 2.286 mg per g, and the coloration coefficient R2 of 0.9377 that suggests the absorbent show multilayer absorption. Next, to compare with Freundlich equation, the Lambe equation is lower than Freundlich with R2 equal 0.8526. From these studies, it can conclude that chicken eggshells as eco-friendly material potential as an absorbent for removing of phosphate from aqueous solution where the highest removal is 97.99%. Next, the best model for phosphate removal is the pseudo second order PSO. It is fed better with the highest R2 equal to 0.9999. The application of this material to absorb the phosphate elements from aqueous solution shows the advanced contribution of eco-friendly waste material used in real absorption wastewater treatment technologies. This is our IP number of copyright in Intellectual Property Corporation of Malaysia. This research is supported by Ministry of Higher Education. We would like to thank the New Environment Technology and ET Center for Diploma Study CEDS Research Management Center, Universiti Tun Hussein Malaysia for our support. The reference that we have found was 50 and this shown 6 out of 50. That's all from us. We hope you really enjoy the presentation and gain some knowledge that can be used in the future.